Hello and welcome to my channel, and today we'll be talking about all the books I read in July. July was a great reading month, and I'm so excited to tell you all about the books I read. I really tried to make some progress on some series this month, and I also tried to do some spooky books as I like to do in the summer for Summerween. Even though most people only celebrate it like in June and some in July, I like to celebrate it all summer and then pretty much go straight into spooky season in the fall. So, the first book I read was Animorphs number 8, The Alien. So, this one was a little different. It was from Axe's point of view, and it was quite interesting. I didn't realize, I kind of thought he was kind of an open book, but then it was like, he's interesting, and we learned a lot about Adelaide culture, and it's quite interesting, honestly. I think the thing that I was most there for is, like, Adelaide had this kind of duty to, like, protect above all, above themselves, above anything. That was kind of interesting. And the whole book was good from book one. I know a lot of times I like to come on here and complain about how Animorphs books, well, the second half was great. I'm not going to be complaining about that. And I think pretty much all the ones I read this month, and I read 3 Animorphs books this month, because as I said, I'm trying to, really make some progress on some series. And they weren't really back heavy, like I've been complaining about. And they really built suspense in this book in particular. So yeah, as I always say, really you gotta check out the Animorphs series. It just gets better as it goes. I recently did a video ranking the first 10 Animorphs because I did get through number 10 recently. I say get through. I enjoyed every second of it. So I did a video, and I will say most of the ones that were on my top 5 were later books. I'm gonna put that out there. So it just gets better as it goes. Now, moving on to my next book, Explorer Academy number 3, another series that I'm working my way through. This was the Double Helix. The beginning was a bit slow, I will say that. Now it has the Animorphs book problems. It's like back heavy. But the ending was, the end was intense. I believe the last page or two, I was like, why are we doing this at the end of the book? But it ended up working out for the next book. It was really, really cool at the beginning of the next book. Getting ahead of myself. But there were some very, very intense moments, and yeah. And as always, I know I've shown these in the past, but of course it doesn't show the picture. They're beautiful illustrations. They're beautiful books, and in the end, they have like how it relates to the real world and conservationism and different parts of science. And look at this one to give you an idea of suspense. Just a little teaser. I highly recommend the Explorer Academy series. It's 7 books in the original series. I just finished book 4 this month. And I just can't get enough of them. I'm obsessed with them. Anyone who will let me talk about them, I will talk your ear off about Explorer Academy and Animorphs. So I was really glad this month I was able to make a lot of progress on series. I actually read 2 Explorer Academy books. Alright, now, enough about that. So the third book I read this. Oh, and I gave Animorphs number 8 5 stars. And I gave this Explorer Academy, it only got 4 stars. It wasn't my favorite Explorer Academy book, but it was good. Now, Identikill was my third book, another K.R. Alexander. This one only got 5 stars. You're like, but that's 5 stars. And I'm like, but yes, but it's K.R. Alexander, so that's low. And this book was really, really good. It just was not as good as the collection. So yes, this one's, you can see, it's about twins, and one of them has passed away, but she's still kind of around as a ghost, and quite intense, shocking ending. I kind of guessed part of the twist, but the other half of the twist, I was like, it was crazy. The last scene was so intense. The reason I only got 5 stars is there were a couple places where it dragged or seemed predictable. Like it was a little repetitive, a little bit in the middle. And K.R. Alexander, if you like a suspense, creepy book, he is for you. Now, this is a little controversial because I know I've read a lot of places online, I've seen on booktubes, a lot of people do not like this book, but I gave it 5 stars. And I know that it is not necessary to the series, but it was just a fun time for me. And I did talk about it in my other video about, that I went into Animorphs a little more and talked about each one and why I felt that way, and how this character that is the narrator is one of my favorite characters. And this is Animorphs number 9, Secret. And it had a lot of conservationist themes, which I thought were interesting, and the ending was just hilarious. I know some people were like, what are you talking about? But they play kind of a trick on the Yeerks at the end, and it's really, really funny, and I highly recommend this book, especially if you're reading the Animorphs series, and number 7 and number 8 are really intense, they're really good, but at that point you're just like, I just want to just enjoy the characters for a little bit. If you're anything like me, you might like that. So number 9, I would not recommend skipping it. A lot of people are like, you can just skip it, it's not good. No. Read it. And then, I did do a video, I decided for this book, that I was gonna do a beach video, because it's a beach kind of Summerween type book, and I was gonna do a little kind of beach day in the library, and I have that vlog up on my channel if you want to check that one out too. And it's R.L. Stine's Beach Party. I give it 5 stars. It's pretty good. The one thing I will say is there is kind of a love triangle in it, and it is definitely very, at least one person dies in this book. I'll leave it at that. And the red herrings, R.L. Stine is the best at red herrings, in my opinion, of any author I've read. I come to R.L. Stine because I know he's going to have red herrings, and you don't know whether it's going to be a red herring or not. I'm even someone, a lot of people complain, even in his Goosebumps books, he'll do, the jump scare, and then, it's something simple, it's the dog, or the... I don't really mind as much, but in some of his other books, he does, full-on red herrings, almost like you would have in a mystery book, and as you know, I'm a mystery fan. This is more of a thriller, so... But yeah, I highly recommend this one. I read, I think, the first, third of it, maybe a little more in my video. And And it was fun. It was like a fun day. Like, that was something I used to do when I was a kid. I would set up like a beach party in my house, so I thought it would be fun to do it with this book as an adult. So that was fun. And then this series has not yet had a 5+ book yet, so I was very happy. Now I'm acting as if the book series has feelings, but way to go, Explorer Academy #4, the Stardunes, because first 5+ book of the series. This is hands down the best book in the series so far, and as I said, I'm obsessed with this series. Highly recommend. And I know I've talked about it in other videos, but the little black, that's from the villain's perspective, but everybody has codes names, so you kind of get some information that maybe the other characters don't know, but you don't know who's who because it's just code names. So, and then this book was intense. It involves a poisoning and not an accidental one. So these books are intense. It was definitely where a lot of things were revealed. A lot of things happened. I loved some of the animals and some of the conservationist stuff that was introduced in this book. But it had all the things I love about Explorer Academy all wrapped into one. And let's see, the ending was cute. It was very compelling, and it was sweet. You'll have to read the series and get to #4, the best book in the series so far, in my opinion, to find out what I mean. But there's a character, how do you say his name? Hold on. It's let's see. Starts with a D. I'll find it for the next video. And he is usually a very closed off, kind of grumpy character, and you slowly get to watch his character arc, and it's really good. All right. Next book I read in the month of July is another Animorphs book. I promise it's the final Animorphs book this month, and as I told you, I got to #10, and again, please check out my top 10, because I made it to number 10, so I guess it's an only 10. It's a ranking of the first 10. And this one had really good pacing, but unlike #9, it was a little more intense. There were a little more action, a little more weight on the story, and the Chee were amazing to learn about, and and also this one takes place in Marco's perspective, which I like, because sometimes he's very misunderstood just in general, and it's nice to hear, like, why are you doing those things, Marco? What's going on in Marco's head? And I like that. But yeah, definitely a good book. I gave it 5 stars. So this book was not on my TBR, but I was just looking for something I could just read in just in one sitting. And this was definitely something that hit the spot, and I gave it 5+ out of 5 stars. And I didn't have another Christmas in July book, and I saw this one on my shelf as the first in a series that I was wanting to get to, and it just was like, okay, this is just speaking to me. and it is a Camelot related book, and I'm a big fan of Camelot. I love King Arthur stories and stuff. And so, without further ado, Magic Tree House, Merlin Mission, Christmas in Camelot, and it's the first one in the Merlin Mission series. It was beautiful. It kind of was one of those books that kind of is very, like, goes together and is very wrapped up, and everything that's in it makes sense and goes with the story. It talks a lot about keeping stories alive and the meaning behind that and why it's important to keep stories alive. And it was a lot better than I remember Magic Tree House being. I don't know if it's just because it's the Merlin missions. I've never read any of the other Merlin missions. But it was really, really good. Highly recommend it. I think the best part, there were some really good parts. I loved the part about they had like these dancing creatures. They were kind of like, I think they were like either dwarfs or gnomes. I think they were gnomes. And they were dancing. And a lot of people get caught up in the dancing. And that's kind of a trope in a lot of books. And like getting caught up in something when you're supposed to be doing something else. And it was really intense. And so they actually get invited to go to Christmas in Camelot, and they get to Camelot, and things aren't as they're supposed to be, and I'll leave it at that. You should definitely check this one out, and I have all 27 of the Merlin Missions Magic Tree Houses, so stay tuned. I will be reading all of them. Then, for my last book of the month, I read Hardy Boys Case Files number 22. And it is up there with Hardy Boys Case Files number 7, Death Game. This one is Double Exposure, and there's this mysterious person claiming to be their brother. There's like someone potentially being framed, but you gotta read till the end to find out if they're framed or not. It has you on the edge of your seat from page 1 to page, I think it had 152 pages on it. And it's possible to read this in one sitting. I believe I read it in 2. But it's crazy, action-packed. Everything you love about Hardy Boys Case Files is in this book. And I gave it 5+ stars for sure. Now, we're at the end of the video, and you must all be wondering, what is my book of the month? So, it came down to these 2 books, The Star Dunes and Merlin Magic, because those were the most enjoyable to read. They're one of those books that makes reading fun. Not that every book I read isn't fun, but these were so much fun. And I just could not stop reading them. Could not. But when it came down to it, I gotta think which book was more addictive and one that I enjoyed every second of more. And it had to be Explorer Academy, The Star Dunes. Well, thanks for watching. Please comment what you're reading and what your book of the month was. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe to my channel, and hope to see you here again soon.